Aloo parantha. Aloo parantha has two steps essentially. So one is the aloo, so the potato, and the spicing and the mashing of the potato. The second part of the process is the making of chapatti, or the parantha dough. It's worth saying that if you have leftover mashed potato and you're looking for a no-waste kitchen dish, that this is the perfect solution. Here's something I prepared earlier. I figured you probably didn't need to see me boil potatoes. So these are just chapped potatoes that I've put into hot water and boiled whole for around 10-12 minutes until they're very soft. So very soft means when you stick a knife into the potato, it goes straight through with absolutely no resistance. So I'm going to peel them, and that's because texture's a really important part of end flavour. And with these aloo paranthas, you want them to be just smooth and creamy, no interference. I'm going to do a pretty basic earthy, quite a soft mix of spice because my kids prefer it, and this is going to be their after school snack. So just a little hand mash. It doesn't have to be super fine. So a tablespoon of ghee in, a teaspoon of a fine white sea salt, a little bit of heat in there, but not much. So half a teaspoon of Kashmiri chili, 2 teaspoons of Kamini, because this is what's really going to give that pungent quality. 1/3 of a teaspoon of turmeric, just for structure and backbone. And then for acidity, amchur, say 1/3 of a teaspoon. Dried green mango powder. So whenever you're tempering spice like this, you want your heat to be medium. So medium on my stove of 15 is like a number 8. So this is starting to become aromatic, but you can see how it's not bubbling yet. So really you want to see some sizzle in the pan before you add the potato. That's the signal that the spices are actually receiving enough heat to release their aroma. So this process on a gentle heat really does take between 3 to 5 minutes. So just a little bit of time at the start to make sure that it's done right. So good. And then this is all going to go in. And this is not a cooking process. This is just a coating. Right, so that's really it. And it's going to come off the heat. Yeah, so let's try this, shall we? So this potato, it's really soft and rich, and that beautiful earthy pungent quality of cumin seeds, the dominant spice character, but all the other spice in there supports that. So it's not sharp, it feels like a really harmonious mouthful. The potato itself is all the volume, and then the ghee as a back note is just that very delicious buttery, oily sweetness that ghee always provides. And then we're going to make the chapatti dough. So there is a video if you just want to see how to do that part of the process. There's a separate video on the channel that shows you how to do that. You know what, let's say 1.5 cups of flour. Atta flour again, and then a little bit more salt, so just a 1/2 teaspoon. So a teaspoon of ghee. I'm just going to put this together with a little bit of warm water. Now I'm not going to fully combine it because I actually want to run the potato through this flour. So come over to the bench and I'll show you what that looks like. There's 2 ways to make aloo parantha. One is that you can roll the dough into balls like this, something I prepared earlier, and then you can, twist it out like you would a pizza base, and apply a small amount of the potato to the center, fold it up, and roll it out. The other way that you can make these paranthas, and it's the way that I actually prefer, is to mix the potato in with the chapatti dough and actually combine it like this. So 200 grams of potato for 1.5 cups of flour. And what that means is that you're getting a lot more, the dough potato ratio is more weighted on the side of the potato. And I like that because that's where a lot of the flavour is. Okay, so I'm going to work this on the bench just a little bit so you can see what it looks like. You can put a little bit more flour on the top, just if it's getting a little bit sticky, because the potato is quite wet. So this was our Saturday treat. Growing up in a Hindu household means you grow up with all sorts of, I guess, faith-led dietary requirements. So Saturdays were a day where we were vegetarian, and we would either have homemade vegetarian pizzas, or if Dad was feeling, I guess, like patient enough, he would make really traditional aloo parantha. So the proper parantha that you have to fold like 7 times with all the layers of ghee and roll it out, and the aloo inside that. And yeah, it was pretty special. Didn't happen all the time, but when it did. What we're doing now is just dividing these into balls that are the size of a lime. Adding a bit of flour when needed, because the potato contributes then a wetness to the dough and it starts to get a little bit loose. So I just want to firm it up a bit. So my trusty olive oil bottle rolling pin. Now these don't take much rolling and you need to be a little bit delicate with them. So these are going to be thicker than a classic chapatti or roti, which is quite thin, and they're more of a meal. You can see I'm being quite gentle. Once they do stick a little bit, you can just use a little barbecue scraper to clear your bench. So these are a very rustic kind of a, maybe they're just rusty because they're made by me. All right, so a little bit of ghee. I'm going to put ghee on both sides of this because there's a lot of density in this aloo parantha, and so I just want to cream it up and sweeten it up, and ghee will do that. So when you're cooking it, you're listening for the sizzle, you're waiting for the smell of caramelisation, and you're looking to see the slight bubble that will occur on this side as it's cooking on the bottom. Now I'm cooking this on a teppanyaki pan because, as you can see, I have an induction stove top. So this is a tava, which is what you would use traditionally. All right. Oh, look at that. Potato goodness. You can feel when they start to cook because they get a little stiff to the touch. Ooh, that's hot. Now the really nice thing about parantha is when you have a little pickle party. So brinjal pickle, lime pickle, so good. Yum. It's like a party in my mouth. The pickle's really acidic and spicy and tangy. And then the aloo parantha is warm and unctuous and a little heavy. Lime pickle is my favourite for sure. If you enjoy the recipe, it's very helpful for me if you subscribe and like the videos. It helps me to keep doing what I'm doing and to keep bringing recipes like this to you. Aloo parantha.